Strength is the base for any human movement. It is the physical skill that we focus on the most at the Brandeis method when it becomes biologically and physiologically appropriate. Strength to us is a skill that has a great transfer. It is a skill that allows us as our children to navigate life completely unimpeded with freedom and fearlessness. It also impacts the physical literacy of a child to a large degree. Physical literacy is our end result, the goal that we are trying to achieve with children in our program. And it's characterized by confidence, competence, and motivation, as well as an understanding to pursue the broadest range of physical abilities throughout a lifetime. Strength accomplishes this for us very quickly as it provides massive gains in self-confidence. Beyond that, strength impacts nearly every other physical endeavor that we attempt in a positive manner. That gets us to competency. It's our goal to have competent movers, meaning that they can complete many different tasks perfectly. Then strength should be a large focus as it has the broadest impact across physical skills. You see, not all physical adaptations are created equal. In fact, they're very far from that. If our goal is to do what's best for children and to develop a physical literacy that will allow them to navigate life unimpeded, we need to focus on strength. A movement that would be focused on any other physical adaptation would be fundamentally flawed for that reason. So, not all physical adaptations are created equal. There's a widely accepted range in the industry of general physical skills. That list is cardiorespiratory endurance, strength, flexibility, stamina, power, speed, coordination, accuracy, agility, and balance. Endurance is the ability to gather, process, and deliver oxygen. Think of a cyclical movement, like monostructural movements. Double unders, biking, swimming, running, rowing, skiing, all would fall under cardiorespiratory endurance primarily. Stamina is the ability to process, deliver, store, and utilize energy. Think of doing high repetition, self-loaded movements like air squats, pull-ups, all the way to failure. Flexibility is the ability to maximize range of motion at any given joint, like the ability to press fully overhead while maintaining a perfectly braced, structurally sound position. Power is the ability of a muscular unit or group of muscular units to apply bursts of force in a very short span of time. Think of throwing a discus or tossing a kettlebell overhead as high as possible, or performing something like a split jerk. Those would all require a great deal of power. Speed is the ability to minimize the time cycle of a repeated movement. Think about a 30-second all-out effort on the C2 rower versus a 5,000 meter all-out effort on the C2 row. Those paces are very different, and speed would fall more on the first end of that. Coordination is the ability to combine distinct movement patterns into a single movement. Think turning a deadlift and a jump and a bicep curl and a shrug and a high pull and a drop and a catch, which are independent movements, into a clean. That takes a lot of systematic coordination and synchronizing of muscular units and patterns together. Agility is the ability to minimize transition time from one movement to the next. The ability to string multiple toes to bar together versus having to reestablish a kip every single time. So the focus and ability to move fluidly between those two movements, the arch and the hollow. Balance is the ability to control your center of gravity in relation to your support base. Handstand walking would be a perfect example of balance in that form. Accuracy is the ability to control a movement direction or its intensity. Think about doing box jumps onto a balance beam to the beat of a song in the background. That would be something that would require a lot of accuracy. Finally, we have strength, which again is our contention that the program that's designed to maximize all of these would be based on strength. Strength is the ability of a muscular unit or group of muscular units to apply force. Without strength, most of the other skills don't even exist, and they can't even be performed. Beyond that, having strength impacts every single other physical skill in a positive way. Having strength will even increase your stamina and your endurance to a degree. The only skill that you could potentially have a case that it doesn't impact would be flexibility. Now, take any other skill on this list. Let's say speed. Does it necessarily need balance? No. Does it necessarily need coordination? No, but it does need strength to exist. No building of any other program around any other skill base will result in the same benefits and gains over time. So focusing on any other skill than strength often will lead to a simple increase in that ability to perform that single skill, but not broad impact, which is what we're looking for. A program aiming to maximize physical literacy would take all of these components into account, therefore would benefit from the base being focused on strength. Here's the beautiful thing. Strength for kids and teens is extremely linear. They're undergoing such rapid changes that adding strength becomes very easy given the proper programming that's put into place. This makes our jobs very simple. Follow the programming to the letter and put all of your effort into perfecting mechanics and keeping them safe. The results will be absolutely incredible. Flexibility, durability, and stability is a concept that we really want to drive home. Early professionalization of youth athletes is a worldwide problem nowadays. Kids as young as 3 years old now are being forced to choose a single sport. I can remember when I was signing my oldest daughter up for preschool, I went in and there was a little booth off to the side near her class, and it was a soccer sign up. And they said, "Hey, how old's your daughter?" And I said, 2. And they said, "Perfect. Our cutoff is 3, but I think she's tall enough and probably mature enough to start soccer practice." And in the back of my head, I was referencing earlier that day where she had not had the ability to hold a cup in her hand without spilling it all over our dinner table. And she's supposed to now start and understand the rules of a sport and then play this in an organized fashion. I don't think that that's necessarily positive. So due to the cultural shift that we've seen in this focus on sport and early professionalization, what we've found is that that's leading to a high risk for injury because kids are just doing a single sport now for a lifetime and repeating the movement pattern without being prepared for it, and also early burnout. At the Brand X method, we are absolutely focused on a belief that this is part of the problem of the massive rise in youth sports injuries. So our goal is and always will be to do what's best for kids. And if that is our focus, then as professional youth coaches, we absolutely must utilize the hands that we have been dealt to do the very best job that we possibly can in protecting our athletes. A strength-based program is how we're going to do that. A strength-based program will create the most durable athletes that can handle the rigors of sports-specific training. We pride ourselves on the fact that our kids show up to our program year after year, not only uninjured, but thriving in their specific sports. They are the ones who are ready for their season, and it's because we've made them durable through building this strength. An athlete who is flexible, if we look at this spectrum here, an athlete who is flexible oftentimes is also unstable. Their hyper-flexible athletes are prone to injury because they use their joints to absorb shock versus utilizing their muscles as kind of the brakes. They are able to move through extreme range of motion under load. Without effective muscular contraction to slow down the impact of that force, it ends up being absorbed in the joints and creates massive problems. At the opposite end of this spectrum, you see stability. Stability is great in a single plane, but sometimes what we'll find is we have kids come into our programs that have done the movement only in their sport so many times that they only have the range of motion in that pattern. But if you ask them to move slightly outside of it or slightly in a way that they aren't normally used to, it can cost them. So how much flexibility is too much? And how much stability is too much? Well, there's a sweet spot in between, and that's what we call durability. The durable athlete is one who has functional range of motion, but it is also stable and strong. As a result, these athletes last a lot longer. How do we get there? We pair a strength program with physical literacy elements that caters to the exact developmental stage that these athletes are in. We follow prepare, practice, and play with our explore, express, and excel groups, which you can learn about more exactly how to do inside of our professional youth coaching course. And all of this stuff matters because physical literacy sits at the heart of our program at the Brand X Method. To develop physical literacy, strength is the chief ingredient.